Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Friday Podcast.
Kimberly.
Banana.
Banana.
Do you remember that? Superman. Banana.
Has anybody listened to the original P90X? Tony Horton has not been doing P90X for probably 10 years. And this is the first P90X. So it's got to be, 15 years old? Every time he would do an exercise, P90X was like the first one that tried to come up with this muscle confusion thing where it's like Monday is going to be karate and Tuesday is going to be this.
And we did it.
And every time we'd get down, he would say these things like we get in a certain position and he'd be like, banana, and like trying to get into a banana position.
Superman, banana.
It was Superman, banana. It was the inverse of each other, but that's not what we're here.
We are definitely not here for that today.
We are continuing in our Ultimate Vision series, and this is how do you say part in Italian? Do you know? Part due. Parto?
Yeah.
Departures is parte. I don't know. We should probably know that.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we are going to get into the exercises that you need to complete to create your vision. But let's first give a couple of parameters for this. If you're doing this as a couple, these exercises we're going to walk you through today, you do them individually. You don't do them together. You're going to do them individually, and then you guys are going to review them together. But remember, go back if you haven't listened to our first of this series. Your number one rule is thou shalt not judge. Thou shalt not judge. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge your partner. You don't judge. Did I say you don't judge? All right. So no judging, and make it fun. So you guys are going to do these exercises. Then you're going to take some time and you're going to review the exercises. And what's great about reviewing it, and by the way, if you're doing this as an individual, grab a partner that you could do this with. It would just be fun to do it together so you can talk about it. So when you do these exercises, explain to the person, what do these things mean to you? What are you thinking here? And talk it through, because in talking it through, it's like Marie Kondo. You're either going to get the spark of joy or it's going to fall flat.
Yeah, does this bring joy?
Does this bring joy? If it doesn't bring joy, and it's like, I don't know why I wrote that, just cross it out. No judgment. Just cross it out. There are 3 exercises here that we're going to detail out. The first one is a will not tolerate list. The second one is wouldn't it be cool if? And the third one is have, be, do. So Rob, you want to kick it off with the I will no longer tolerate list?
Can you do a little bit of Alanis Morissette for the backgrounds?
I can find her on my phone. No, because then you have to pay her.
So do we? I don't know. Can you do that in podcasts? How do we not know the answer to that?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm alluding to here is you want to channel for this process of the toleration list. You want to channel your inner Alanis Morissette. And for those of you that have no idea who Alanis Morissette is, we are dating ourselves now. It's like a Dolly Parton song. Alanis Morissette is known as being the angry girl, who's I'm probably offending Alanis Morissette fans, but many of her songs have
angst,
frustration, and angst. That's the word. Thank you. Angst. So find something that's got some energy, maybe in the background. And this is actually opposite of what we talked about earlier, which is being in a great mood and happy mood when you're visualizing what you want. This is coming at it from a different angle, because very often it's easier for you to get a hold of emotions that are painful than it is to get a hold of the vision for what you want. So, for example, you may be in a job right now that you really fucking don't like. and you don't have a clear vision of what the job is that you really do, but you're very well connected to the emotions of being in the job that you don't like. A toleration list is simply that. Look around your life, all the different areas of your life, and you know the areas, right? It's your family, it's your finances, it's your body, it's where you live. Just chunk things that make up a human life and write them down. And do an audit, do an inventory. And let's say, we'll talk about your body. Let's say you look at your body and you're like, I fucking hate how my belly hangs over my pants. Every single time I put jeans on and I look at my belly, I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this extra cream cheese come from? I did not have this 2 years ago. I don't want it anymore. So you write down excess cream cheese around the belly button, right? That pisses you off. You look at your job and you're like, I'm fucking tired of being a chiropractor. If one more person says my neck or back hurts, I'm going to shoot myself.
I was going to give you a real life example because we're going through this, creating our vision right now, along with doing this series. And one of the things too, it's like, it doesn't have to be something so angry. It could be something that's frustrating. And
it's a toleration.
The concept behind this is you get what you tolerate. And so if you continue to tolerate it, you will continue to get it. So you have to make a decision. I no longer am willing to tolerate this. So something that has been like irking me is my kitchen. And we moved to Italy, and I've not made my own pasta from scratch one time since moving here. And I made it every single month when we lived in America. I made my own pasta. Now, granted, look, I can go down the street and literally buy fresh pasta for nickels, but that's not the point.
You want to make your own pasta.
I enjoy making my own pasta, but I don't, because my kitchen is not conducive to making pasta. And I don't have counter space. I don't have place that I can clip on the pasta machine. It's frustrating to me, and I'm no longer willing to tolerate it. So it's going into my vision that I want to redo my kitchen. And I have ideas and concepts about where I'd put the extra cabinet, or how I would create the counter, or what it's going to look like. And that's going into the vision. So I'm not freaked out and screaming about my kitchen, but it's something that is consistently frustrating to me that I want fixed.
And you could even do it in other areas of your life as well, like your relationship. You can say, I am frustrated that my husband is always leaving his underwear on the floor. That's fucking annoying to me. I am frustrated that we're arguing with each other all the time over who's doing what with the kid and when. Or I'm frustrated that we don't have a date night. Or I'm frustrated, and you write all that down, right? And so inside of all of these things, whether it's your body or your relationship, or I'm frustrated that when I get a bill in the mail, I feel this stress. I feel my heart sinking. I feel panic happen. I'm frustrated that I go to sleep at night and I'm worried about paying my bills. All of those things, right? When you have those things that are there that you've made into a list, then you can look at them and you can reverse those things. And you can say, I want harmony in my home. I want love and connection with my spouse. I want to feel good when I put a swimsuit on. I want to, you get the idea, right?
I want new cabinets and a new countertop.
When you get to the stage that we're slowly taking you towards, you start to find a way to incorporate these things into the vision. Because if it's important to you to live in a house that's organized and neat, and it's not organized and neat, there's a mental bandwidth that you're battling every single time you walk in your house that doesn't feel conducive and inspiring to you living the life that you want. So you've got this low hum of frustration, angst. It's not horrible, but every time you walk around, you're like, fuck, it's cluttered. There's dishes in the sink. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. And that low hum, they stack up. And when they stack up, it starts leading to frustration. So when you're crafting your vision and you're including, as an example, I love when I come home how I feel in an environment where everything has its place. Everything is organized. When I need something, it's right where I want it to be. And I feel like my home's my sanctuary. And that makes me feel inspired. That makes me feel good, right? So that's now a vision that you have energy that's moving towards. This is where you have to be careful. We talked earlier about going into a magazine and picking something out. You may see a picture of a magazine where a home is organized, but you don't have a lot of energy around it. That's not something that you put on your toleration list. It's like, it's nice. I liked it. Who wouldn't want to have an organized house? But for the one that has energy around it, that's what you want to put in there.
Right. So this first exercise is the toleration list. Now, in our online course, if you choose to go and grab that, link is in the show notes. And also you're getting $100 off with the coupon Vision100. If you choose to go in there, it's 6 modules. There's accompanying PDFs. There's videos that walk you through how to do all of this.
The videos are us walking you through it.
Exactly. And then also though, there's accompanying PDFs. So that's that. But the toleration list, like Rob says, you're writing these things down, then you're reversing them into a positive statement. Like, what would you want? Right. And we're using this, we're on a fact finding mission right now. We're on a vision finding mission right now. It's discovery. We're uncovering what are the things that maybe you want to put into your next vision. Okay. So not everything on your toleration list is probably going to make its way into the final, but you have it there for you.
And you'll also start to notice patterns.
Yeah.
You'll notice that there are areas in your life that you're just not happy with, and you've got a lot of frustrations and tolerations around it. And you'll notice other areas that if something is irking you a little bit, it may not make it. But if you're like looking at it, you're like, oh, if I had to put this in order, this is fucking number one. That's the thing you're going to want in there.
Yeah. And also what's interesting with the frustration list or the toleration list, if you put a note in your notes app in your phone and you go through your day and your thought process is, where are the things I'm tolerating? That'll pop up. And when it pops up, you can type it in your notepad and then you keep going through your day and it pops up. Do that for 1 week. You'll have it filled and you'll be able to see, this isn't that important to me. This is a simple fix.
That's a really good one, because when you're sitting down and you're trying to get them out of you, it's not like going through your day and you're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. That's fucking annoying to me. I hate that thing. Keep a I hate that thing list.
Right. Because you literally could fix in a second. And you're like, huh, okay. It's like a RAM. It's like a tab that keeps popping up on your computer or a pop-up, but you're not doing anything about it. But the moment you shine the light on it, then you're like, okay, I need to do something about this.
It's stored in the cache of your brain.
Yeah. Like Rob and I, this is a kind of funny one. When we went to Austria last summer, we spent a month in Austria. The first day we get to Austria, we go to the hotel and it has 2 twin size comforters on a king size bed. And we just thought this was so strange that we each had our own comforter and we thought it was weird. But by the time we left Austria, Rob had ordered them and they were at the house because we realized how amazing it was. But the thing about the 2 comforters is your bed looks weird. There's no cover.
It looks like the picture right before a divorce.
So that was irking me. And it's not something I'm putting in my vision. I just went and bought a freaking full cover for the bed that goes over that. So it looks like a normal bed. And at night, I roll down that cover and we have our individual things. So that's an example of something that was irking me, but I could fix immediately versus needing to add to my vision. So giving you an idea there. All right. So exercise 2 now is, wouldn't it be cool? And wouldn't it be cool is the way that we allow your brain to overcome limiting beliefs, to overcome the logic, to overcome the filter and the tamper. Wouldn't it be cool if? So you're not committing to it. You're just saying, wouldn't it be cool if we lived in Italy? That's where it started. Wouldn't it be cool if I was a club DJ? Wouldn't it be cool if I wrote a book? I remember on my first one of the things I wrote down was to take dance classes, like adult dance classes. Wouldn't it be cool if I knew how to dance? Like at the time I wanted to take hip hop classes. So I think wouldn't it be cool is a really good one. This is a good one to tap into that stretch zone, right?
Yeah, I think when you ask somebody to dream about what they want, you would think that would be easy to do, right? Because you think that they would just be able to just spout it out. But you're battling all kinds of demons when you start stepping into dreaming, because if it was so easy, you'd have it already. So the reason why you don't have it already is because you got some blocks. There's something somewhere that says you're not good enough, you don't have the skill set, you don't know how to make it happen, you don't believe that it's possible, all that shit. And what the wouldn't it be cool exercise does is it, to your point, it tampers that, it quiets that noise in your head, and somehow those words allow you to just look at it through a different lens. So if I'm doing it right now and I was sitting here and I was doing this exercise myself, I'd be like, wouldn't it be cool to be a writer? Wouldn't it be cool to live in Tuscany and be a full-time writer? Wouldn't it be cool to have a book that is on the New York Times bestseller list and people from around the world are sending you messages saying that their life is changed because they read it? Wouldn't it be cool to have that book turned into a movie? None of those things I just said gave me any imposter syndrome. But if you asked me, what's your dream? And I said, to have a New York Times bestseller, to have people around the world telling me that their lives are changed, to be a writer full time, I can literally feel in my body the stress increasing, saying, I'm sure you and everybody else. So there's some magic that is baked into the separation of making that statement and allowing what comes out. So it's the opposite of the toleration list. The toleration list is a way for you to tap into the negative energy and flip it. This is allowing you the opposite, to tap into the positive energy, but through a dream state and have that written out.
That's perfect. Okay, now Exercise 3 is the dreamline. We're taking it back to what we started with so many years ago with Tim Ferriss. And this is basically, what do you want to have? What do you want to be? And what do you want to do? Like I said, Tim Ferriss and the dreamline is what started this for us. But we realized that if you don't do the 2 exercises that preceded this, that it's much harder to do the dreamline because you're not in the state to really sift through things. So what you want to do now is you want to look at your toleration list and your wouldn't it be cool if list. And you want to go through it and sift through all of it and determine, like I said before, what are the things that spark joy? What are the things that are like, yes, this is a 100% for me? And then you want to filter those things into a have, be, and do. What do I want to have? What do I want to be? And what do I want to do? And this can be material or immaterial. It doesn't have to be like, I need a sports car. Don't go with the obvious here, right? Things that we want you to think about are, what do you want your day-to-day life to look like? There's the 2 exercises you did before this, and not everything has to come from those exercises. They can be provoked in other ways, like thinking about your day-to-day life. Where are you living? How are you waking up in the morning? What does your routine look like? How would you spend your day? So think about those things when you're doing this brainstorm. And this is the one that you really want to be in a high vibration state when you're doing this. You want to be in a positive, and you want to make sure that you're writing things in the positive. So don't write, I don't want blank. If that's where your brain goes, flip it and turn it into a positive. Tell me what you do want. What do you want to have, be, and do? So I'll give you examples. I want to have a second home in the countryside. I want to have a weekly date night with my husband. I want to be a published author. I want to be promoted at work. I want to do cooking lessons. I want to do a 2-week vacation to Europe. Those are just some examples of have, be, and do. And don't get stuck in the semantics of, do I want to have that, or do I want to do that, or do I want to be that? Don't get stuck in the semantics of that. Let the brainstorm flow and just go until you can't come up with anything else.
I think everybody, like you said with the semantics, this comes up a lot when we give advice for people. They're like, well, do I want to have a leather jacket, or do I want to do a trip to Italy? So it is designed to have your brain answer it in any way that it wants to answer it. But the more important thing is what comes out when you say, I want to have, what your brain is giving you, right? What your intuition is telling you. So if I were to ask that question right now, what do I want to have? The answer would be like more free time. Like, I'd like to have some more free time, right? What do I want to be? I want to be a full-time author. What do I want to do? I want to visit Japan. That would be really cool to visit Japan. And then you'll start to notice that there are patterns with the toleration list, the have, be, and do list, and the wouldn't it be cool list. You'll start to see that Japan is coming up on all 3 of them, right? Author is coming up on all 3 of them. And you may notice the inverse too. You may be like, what am I frustrated about? I'm frustrated that I don't have enough free time to be a full-time author, or I'm frustrated that I don't have the money to take the trips that I want. And that trip, by the way, happens to be Japan, right? So you're starting to piece together these things that are coming up in, to use Kim's point, this discovery process, to take all these disparate pieces that are coming together and you go, okay, I can see money is connected to Japan and free time is connected to writing, and you'll start to put together a story. What you're really trying to do with all of this is you're trying to tap into intuition. I think if I had to give one piece of advice for people, is to learn how to hear that intuition. We're so inundated with books, the 7 steps to this, the 4 steps to that, every podcast, every course, everything in the world where everybody's telling you what they think you should do. I think really what you're looking for here is to tap into your intuition of what you think you should do. So our hope for this course is that these exercises are going to, it's not designed to tell you what to do, but the exercise is designed to figure out a way to tap into the voice that's inside of you with these little tricks that can help you tap into what's already in there.
All right. So when you have these 3 exercises done, okay, you have the wouldn't it be cool, you have the toleration, you have the have, be, and do. Again, please don't rush it. If it takes you a week, if it takes you a month, just let it take as long as it needs to. Take a day or 2 after you complete it. Go back and look at them all again. Cross off anything that doesn't immediately speak to you. If you forgot about something, cross it off. If something is jumping out at you and now that you've written it down, you're dreaming about it, you're thinking about it, it's becoming a part of your daily thoughts, circle it, highlight it, go after it. Make sure that is front and center. And then if you're doing this with a spouse, after you've taken a couple of days to edit and look at everything, sit down together and look at each other's, or do it with your partner, and talk through it. Why do you want to have that? What does that do for you? What do you want to be? I didn't know you wanted to be an author. I didn't know you wanted to live in Italy. You want to do what? You want to take a trip to Japan? Let's talk about that. What does that look like? How fun would that be? Maybe they never even thought about it before. Have that conversation and be open. Be open to what the other person wants and see if it sparks something in you.
Let me say this. As you go through this process, I think Kim is right that you need time to do it. I think when you do this is important. For me, I'm best early in the morning with a cup of coffee when no one's around me, where nobody can get me. And I've got the right music in my headphones. I like to listen to sounds of rain and I'm in a zone, right? It's really important, I think, when you do it, because the state that you're in, you don't want to do this at the end of the day when you're shot. It doesn't make sense. So find a day, maybe a Saturday morning or something, right? So you find that. And then as you get this list, these are going to be fresh and they're going to be new and you're going to feel vulnerable and you're going to be like, Japan. I've never talked about Japan with my spouse, but for some reason, Japan is in there. So really look at that list and gain clarity on perhaps why you want it. And look at each item, messy house, body, Japan, all these things we're talking about, and go, why is that coming up for me? Because I've been to many places. If I was answering that question, I'd go, I'm living in a place now that's 3,000 years old. What would a place that's 5,000 years old be like? That would be interesting to me. So think about all those things. And then when you go to the point with your wife where you share that process and you may get a reaction from her or him where you're like, Japan. And that could knock you out of your state for what you think was important to you, because they're going to have a reaction to something. You're going to pull some weird shit like I want a goat. And they're going to be like, you want a what?
I want a fainting goat.
I want a boat, right? You're going to pull out and they're going to be like, a what? But you want to be prepared to answer why. I want a goat. Hear me out. I want a goat because we live on this property and I would love to have goat milk. Ever since I was a kid, I'm always like, whatever the story is, right? So you want to be able to answer it. And then if you're playing the role of the other person, don't ask how questions. Ask why questions. The why questions be like, why do you want to go to Japan? Why is this house being even more organized that important to you? Ask the questions because it came out of you for a reason and you have a why. But if you don't have an opportunity from someone asking you why, then it just becomes you trying to defend your position on why it's on your list, and the other person rolling their eyes. And this is why having a good relationship is so important, because if you don't have that safe zone where somebody can be curious, you can be playful about it and go, you want to go? That's interesting. Okay. All right. I'm game. Why? Well, why do you want to go?
I think why is great to provoke the conversation, but I also think the next question when you're talking to your partner about this is, how could we make this happen? How could we make having a goat happen? How could we make this Japan thing happen for you? How could this work? And if you can, again, without the judgment, if Rob wants to be a full-time author or pet goats or whatever the hell he wants to do, how does that really affect me? Now, when we both looked at our things and we said, I want to live in California, Rob wanted to live in California, I want to live in Italy, we were like, okay. And so what we did was, Rob was like, this will be interesting. Are we divorcing? And the question that we asked is, how could we both get what we want here, especially when it's in opposition? So there's going to be things on your list that there's no opposition to. If somebody wants an organized home, then does it really affect you if your spouse does something to organize a home? No, that doesn't affect you. You guys can do it together. But if there's opposition, if you see two things that are in opposition, then you could say, how could we accomplish this and both get what we want? And originally, what Rob and I decided was, at the time, we didn't even have Sophia yet. We had our older daughter and she was going to be going off to college soon. So we said, maybe when she goes to college, we'll make a plan to live 6 months in the US, in California, and 6 months in Italy. And that felt really good to us. And so we created a vision for our life where we would do half the year in one place, half the year in the other, and everybody was happy. And we felt really good about that collaboration. We got excited about it because I was like, great, Rob for 6 months, he can surf, he can do this. And I was happy for him. And I could give two shits about California, but I was like, what could I do in California? What would be interesting? What could I learn about? Maybe I'll have a garden. And so we started to, what would living in California look like for me? And then the converse as well. Then we had Sophia and realized, unless we're homeschooling, 6 months and 6 months isn't going to work out. But the point was, the question that we asked, how we got on the same page is, how could we make this work? How could we make this happen? How could we work together to connect and make your dream happen, or my dream happen, or both dreams happen? And then from there, you guys are going to create a joint have, be, and do. So you're going to pick the things from each of yours that now are becoming a joint vision. Oh, you want to go to Japan? I want to go to Japan. Let's put that down. Oh, you want to live at the lake? I want to live at the lake. Let's put that down. Oh, you want to live at the lake and I want to live in the city? Do you think we could get a lake house and maybe we could rent it out as an Airbnb when we're not there and then use it? Maybe it's an additional stream of income for us. Oh, that's a great idea. Write that down. So you guys are going to start to collaborate and connect on what these things mean to you. And by the way, if you're an individual doing this by yourself, congratulations. You don't have to fight with anybody. You can have what you want, right? And until you get partnered up and meet the person and have to go through all of this again. Rob, comments?
Yeah, I think everything you said is accurate. I would add to the opposition piece that the opposition is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because part of the reason why you don't have the vision that you want now, particularly if you're in a couple, is because you're opposed to each other. One wants to live in Italy, the other one wants to live in California, right? So guess what? You're in Atlanta.
By the way, that's the halfway point between the two. Did you notice that? How funny is that?
One of my guilty pleasures is watching this television show called 90 Day Fiancé. And one of the girls has moved to Egypt and she's dating a guy who's a Muslim. And the guy's, of course, you're going to completely cover yourself, right? And she's, no, like, I'm an LA chick that's into fashion and I'm not going to be wearing something covering me from head to toe. And there's this massive disconnect. The vision is so not in alignment with each other that they basically fight every single show because her elbows are exposed, right? But if they work together to have a joint vision, I don't know what that looks like. That's obviously an extreme example, but the fact that there's an opposition there, if they don't work together towards a solution for what the vision for what they can both do so that she can feel comfortable and expressing herself and he can feel like he's honoring his religious beliefs in some way, perhaps there is something that is somewhere in the middle. And with couples, I think first you have to know where you are in disagreement, where you are in opposition with each other, to figure out how you can square out an alignment with each other. But I would just add that.
Yeah, I think that's great. So that's it for this one. So your homework is to take your time and to get these exercises done. And if you're working with a partner, collaborate, talk it out, vet it out for yourself. Don't judge what the other person's dream is for them, and find a way. Brainstorm stupid idea time. How could we make all of this happen? What could it be? And be open to the ideas that are coming from that, because you never know what spark of something you'll get. And in the next episode, we are going to talk about taking this have, be, and do and turning it into a written vision.
And if you are desirous of creating a vision by the end of this year for next year, grab our Ultimate Vision course, and the link is in the bio. And remember, you get $100 off. So we will be back next week for part 3 of this 5-part series. Have a great week, everybody. Hey, everybody, if you've ever thought about coming to hang out with Kim and I on one of our next Rob and Kim Italia events and you want to learn more, just click the Rob and Kim Italia link in the show notes and add your name and email, and we'll send you all the details as soon as they're available. We are obsessed with this country and how it affects you, and we want to share that magic of culture, food, wine, art, architecture, and some secret magic moments that we've cooked up with you. So be sure to add your name, because these events sell out quickly.